Good morning, I'm Sharaad Kuttan and welcome to BFM's Morning Headlines. Two stories dominate the morning papers today, and they are the PKNS troubles in the state of Selangor, trouble between Azmin Ali, who heads PKR, the party in the state, and the Menteri Besar. And that's the headline that says it all, makin celaru, which means, everything is getting a little hazier with regard to this controversy. And here are the two individuals who have been moved from PKNS, and also what we understand is that Azmin Ali has not been reinstated. Well, that's Sina Harian's coverage. It's pretty sober. The Star has an equally sober headline. It says, "Is Azmin in or out?" But if you look at the pictures, I think picture choice is really interesting. Both of them look dreadful. Azmin Ali looks like he's just about to lose all hair on his head, and the Menteri Besar looks unshaven, unkempt, and otherwise really kind of like it's even highlights of his nostril hair. Now, picture choice tells you something about how the paper wants to frame things. Berita Harian has a similar headline. That's Pengurus Besar Usaha ditukar. That's the general manager and the executive secretary who have been moved out of PKNS. Some speculate it's because their opinions, public statements, have contradicted the Menteri Besar's, but we don't really know at this point in time. It's still something that is ongoing controversy. So that's one of the major stories for on this controversy. The other, of course, is that actually takes much of the front pages of the newspapers. The New Straits Times has it, revving up the auto industry. Now, the question is, what's happened to the auto industry, and are these plans really that are being put in place a pipe dream? Are they just aspirational, or can they actually come to fruition? And also, importantly, what went wrong with our automotive policy in the past? The Sun has a similar headline: 20 to 30% cut in price over the next 5 years. So long gestation period for this, and also the whole question of whether the political imperative when it comes to the automotive industry, including, say, Bumiputra participation in the industry versus market forces and such, can be squared. This is Dasar Automotive Nasional, which is the National Automotive Policy. That's the acronym in Malay. It's starting off. So, and you see there in the pages of our business dailies as well. There you have the Minister and the Secretary General of MITI, and you also have the Minister back there. So all in all the papers are very interested in this. I guess they have a middle-class clientele, very interested in automotive prices. The big question, or the larger question really, is what about public transport, and how would that solve many of the problems for commuters, the people who live in the city, live in the Klang Valley and need to get to work? I mean, is the car the only way to go? Other stories in the newspapers that are worthy of note comes on the front pages of Uttar Malaysia. You see it here. Last minute attempts to avail themselves of the amnesty for foreign workers. So undocumented foreign workers were given an amnesty, and these, of course, are employers racing to the ministry to get that. Today, the Ministry of Home Affairs launches its search for undocumented workers. The language, often when we see this, it's come over and over again. The language sometimes be a little unfortunate, very derogatory or degrading of the undocumented workers, as if they're here as criminals or animals or such. That I think will not be avoided this time. It just seems to be something that the Malaysian media, some of our mainstream media, seem to not be able to kick. It's an addiction, demeaning especially foreign workers. So anyway, that's another big story there. The Malay Mail has a story. This is, of course, the incident that befell the head of the Pakatan Rakyat. This is Anwar Ibrahim. He was not allowed into Japan. What's interesting is that the Malay Mail online has a story about other people who have been denied entry into Japan. That includes Russell Brand, Paris Hilton, the Rolling Stones, and Diego Maradona. Now, if Diego Maradona can be barred from Japan, anybody can. So again, one of those picture stories, man not looking his best there. Pictures, very interesting little thing. Here you have a little story about trauma on a bus, and many of the other papers carry a young student. He's learning hairdressing. He was not only attacked on a public bus, but also kicked in the groin. To add to his traumas, his face is in fact digitized in many of the papers, and here it's digitized, but it isn't on the front page. So the young man, you get to see him not looking very happy, which is probably one reason to digitize his face. Unhappy people shouldn't actually be on the front page. Though, if we go back to the star, these two fellas look deeply unhappy. Factionalism in the PKR, that's going to emerge as the party itself goes to the polls, tries to decide internally, and competition heats up. So expect more stories, especially for those unsympathetic to Pakatan Rakyat and the PKR in particular. Other stories to note in the alternative media, I think the Malaysian Insider has a very interesting story coming out of Sarawak from a senior minister, James Mussing, on whether the foundations of the country have to be looked at again. Also in Free Malaysia Today, a piece by Luke Rintod on the Sabah RCI, and he's asking, where is the report? It was promised at the end of last year. And lastly but not least, a piece in fz.com on a bill, an American bill, that is troubling for those countries who want to continue to have some control over trade. This is a bill that will allow Americans to push through or try to eliminate rather things like labeling GMO products and such, which they see as unfair practice and against their national interest. That's all we have for you this morning, but not before I give you the word of the day, which is undesirable. Yes, that it is undesirable. And it's also important to note who gets labeled undesirable and who has the power to label other people undesirable. Who's undesirable, what is undesirable, and how undesirable will our papers get if we don't call them up on their misdemeanors. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Sharaad Kuttan, and this has been BFM's Morning Headlines, BFM 89.9.